Suddenly Sonder is filmed in front of a live studio audience. We can't take ourselves seriously, and neither should you.
Yeah.
Like chopsticks. They're Kiki's Delivery Service chopsticks. There's Gigi. Pardon my weebness, but here it is. Don't pardon it. Embrace it. Look at it. Look at that cat. I love Kiki's Delivery Service. It's one of my favorite Ghibli movies. I don't watch animated movies too often, actually, when it comes to like anime style movies. I don't really watch them too often because Spirited Away scared me. I'll be honest with you, it freaked me out when I was younger. So I didn't watch a lot of Ghibli movies. I've never seen My Neighbor Totoro. I know, I'm ashamed. But one of the movies that I watched most recently that isn't Ghibli but was really good was Kimi no Na wa, which is Your Name. It's an amazing film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's cinematically, visually gorgeous. The pacing is quality, and the plot twist had me shook. Not the first one. The first plot twist is like, okay, and then it's like, oh snap, and then it's like, wait, no, and then it's like, ah, and then it's good. The soundtrack also is amazing. They did it in Japanese and English, the same group, so it sounds completely the same, just translated. I actually saw it in theaters. They were previewing it and premiering it for a while. Some of the Ghibli movies are also in theaters. I know I took my kids, when I nanny over the summer, I took them to see Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. So if you haven't seen Kiki's Delivery Service or any type of anime movie, I recommend that you go to your nearest eigakan and go and see those, because those are really fun. I also got a Gudatama bento because starting next semester I am moving off campus, so I get to cook my own lunch. I'm very excited because I've missed cooking. I cook a lot when I'm at home, so. And it says I just can't. Moody desu yo. He just can't. He's just a little tamago living his best life. And it's more because it's like one of those Russian dolls. It's like a babushka doll. Because there's a box in the box, and this one says just 5 more minutes. And then there's a smaller box inside the box, and this one says reasons to get out of bed. None. Nemutai desu yo. Constantly. Honestly, my constant state is wanting to sleep. That's a big mood. And when I'm in Japanese class, actually, oftentimes I'll use the word sleep in a sentence just because it's a word I know how to say. So it's easier for me to practice conjugating and grammar if I'm using a sentence that I already am like sure of, as opposed to trying to put together this long-winded sentence that is gonna take me 20 minutes to get, because I'm a little slower when it comes to structuring with me, and I've always been that way with language. This has become a little real talk real quick. I studied Italian for 4 years, Spanish for 4.5 years, French for 1, Japanese for 2, and a little bit of German and a little bit of Russian, and then some Hebrew here and there. But for me, whenever I'm studying a language, my hardest part is getting over being nervous about being wrong and being scared to speak. But then once I can get past that, for me, grammar and conjugation are so hard. Even in English, I've always had an issue with conjugation. I think that whenever you're studying any language, that's one of the biggest hurdles beyond getting out of your own head. And so, like, throwing random Japanese words into sentences is actually really helpful, because you stop thinking about, oh, this is a window, window translates to mado. You just look at and know, oh, mado. Like, if you have to take the time to translate it in your head, it's harder than being able to visually associate it with a word. Like, if you can look at a window and go, oh, mado, finestra, window. It's easier than going, well, window means this, and that means that. If that makes sense. That's just how I learn, and I'm hoping that made sense to you guys. So when you hear me putting random words in different languages, it's just me trying to utilize my language learning skills, because there aren't a lot of places that you can go to here on Long Island for free to have Japanese conversation. My mom took me to a sushi restaurant and was like, go on, speak. And the guy turned to me and I went to open my mouth and he said, I'm from the Bronx. And I was just like, okay. And then another time she took me to a hibachi restaurant, and my mom is just, she really wants me to just practice. Like when I was taking Italian classes, she took me to Italian restaurants. She just wants me to get, like, to utilize the skill so that you don't lose it, which I understand and appreciate. But every single time she's tried to do it, nobody speaks the language that I'm trying to learn. Like the last restaurant we went to, they were Chinese. And I was like, Ma, I don't speak that language. I'm sorry. I try. I can't do it. I know one word in Chinese, and it's McDonald's. It's just McDonald's. I think McDonald's is a fun word to learn in any language, because in Chinese, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I think it's Maidong Lao. I could be wrong. And in Japanese, it's Makuru Donarudo. Makuru Donarudo. It's one of the hardest words for everyone in my class to get, and I think it's so fun. But also, apparently, no one calls it that. It's like how in Australia they call it Macca's, I believe, but no one calls it like McDonald's. There's like a slang word for it. I'm not sure what it is. I asked like several times, but I always forget. But it intrigues me anyway, because I think also when talking about language, one of the easiest things to get is food. It's genuinely one of the easiest things. Another thing that has helped me with learning Japanese is actually like being interested in the culture, like beyond anime and the food, like just learning about like religion and everyday life and like clothing styles and the history. It really helps. Like if you're interested in the culture of the place of the language you're trying to learn, that was a lot. It's a lot easier. Like when I was studying French, I would watch a lot of French movies. I would try and read older texts. I would study the history, and I still do. I'm a little bit of a history nerd in that regard, but I think that if you really appreciate all that is associated with the language, it'll make it easier for you to learn. It'll also be more fun. So those are Stephanie's language learning tips. Oh boy, enter some speaking practice there. こんにちは皆さん、アキと呼んでください。これはポチェットちゃんです。ポテトちゃん、ポテト。I don't think that's actually what he's called. I think he has a name. I've been told ebisu, but I like potato. We have a lot of things in common with potato. Potato is squishy, and potato has an existence, and we all do. And so what we've decided to do here is capture ours on the camera. It's just like yours, except with a camera.
Ta-da!
I'm Aki.
I'm Becca.
And today, we're introducing you to us.
Woo!
I'm also not even looking at the camera. I'm looking at the monitor the whole time. Hello.
Nice.
Yes. So, let's take that intro again.
Yeah, let's do that again. Let's